And we're back, Fashion Dolls. I don't know what just happened with my interview with Richard. He froze, and then I was saying, "Where is everybody?" So I don't know what happened. What is going on with IG today? But I'm just going to continue on. What I'm probably going to do is upload that one to the channel as part one, and we're going to see what's going on. Let me try Messenger. All right, Fashion Dolls. Let me try to add Richard back again so that we can pick up where we left off. We're going to give it a few minutes. Okay, there we are. Let me add Richard back. So go live. Hopefully it works this time. There we are. I'm not sure what happened. Wait a minute. Uh-oh. I think it keeps kicking. Let me see. It keeps booting him out. Hi, King David. We're going to finish up with this interview with our very special guest, Richard. But I think he's having some technical issues on his end where he's at. So we are going to wait a couple minutes. But I'm glad that you guys are chatting with me, talking to me in the comments. Can y'all see me? Can y'all hear me? My guest keeps getting booted out of the live. Like, we just had an interview. So I guess what I'll probably do is do part 1 and then part 2 if it keeps acting like that. So we're waiting on Richard because I think he's having some technical issues on his end. Can you guys see me? Can y'all hear me? What color am I wearing if y'all can see me? Thank y'all. And thank you, King David. Yes, I had to do the emerald green today. I had to do something for the springtime today. That's a little bit different. I love this dress. It's like velvet. It's crushed velvet. I love it. Perfect. I'm waiting on Richard. So in the meantime, between time, we were talking about some of his iconic roles. So up to date, here's what you missed in case you guys missed it. Now, he did Transporter 2. He also did Ali. He's done There's Something About Mary. We didn't even get a chance to get to that part yet. And he also did Holy Man with Eddie Murphy. So we are waiting to continue on with this interview, Fashion Dolls. So hang tight. We're going to get it right. And I'm just waiting on him to come back because I think some people are getting booted out of the live. IG has been tripping. But luckily today I'm so happy because I get to be able to see my guests, whereas before I would have to uninstall and then reinstall back. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend like I did. What did I do over the weekend? The weekends for me are like rest and recuperate and rejuvenate myself. And as you guys can see today, the skin is skinning. And it's because, not just because of the makeup and the glow, but because if I made sure that I took time for myself. So make sure that you guys are taking time for yourself, pour into yourself, pamper yourself, because you deserve it. It is also Mental Health Awareness Month. So make sure that you are protecting your energy and your peace. And that is another thing that is sacred to me, is that I make sure that I protect my peace and energy. Again, I always read my affirmations first thing in the morning when I get up, and I always say a prayer, and that's what gets me through the day. So while we're waiting on Richard, Fashion Dolls, I'm going to send it to him again. Hopefully it'll be able to add him back. Yeah. Okay. We're just waiting on him. And I see my numbers are going up. The numbers are going up and down because I think people are trying to join the live and we're having some tech issues here with the gram. They like to try us. But other than that, I hope you guys are having a fabulous Monday. I'm going to hold on a little bit before we close out and conclude this interview because I'm waiting on Richard. You do affirmations too, King David? In the mornings, that is a ritual for me. That is a ritual for me in the mornings, is doing affirmations. And it helps me get my day started. So that is a must. That is definitely a must. So I'm just waiting right now on Richard so that we can get back into this interview and close out and give you guys the final thought of the day. We didn't even get a chance to do our rapid five or turn the tables. We didn't get a chance to do those things. Also, I'm going to be on a little break throughout this week. Tina was supposed to be joining me tomorrow so that we could dish on all things SAS, because you guys know the Bath & Body Works' semi-annual sale is coming up. Now, they're saying that it's going to start a little bit early for members. I'm not sure. I think at the end of this month, May, which will be May 31st. But if you guys have the app or whatever, you can go ahead and shop. So they've been dropping little teasers here and there. Now, they're saying that the sale is supposed to start June 1st. June 1st is on a Saturday. So the prices for body care range from $3.95. And then for the next few couple of days, it's going to fluctuate. It's going to go up and then it's going to go down. So make sure that you guys are racking up, saving your coupons, doing all of those things so that you can rack up on some body cares and some smell good. Because I know I'm definitely going to be shopping the sale. And I always post my scent of the day to the stories. So today's scent, I am wearing Narcisco Rodriguez, and I paired it with dressed in white, and Miss Dior. If you guys are wondering what fragrance I'm wearing today, because I post it every single day. It's like a ritual for me. But I'm not sure if anybody can see me if I'm still here or what is going on with IG. But let me see something real quick. Let me see. Do, 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 do. Right now, I think it's just me in the live. I don't know what's going on today with IG. Yeah, in the meantime, between time, I'm going to hold on and hang on. Okay, let's try now. Let me see. I see you now. Hopefully, it'll work this time. There we are. I'm not sure what happened,
I don't know either. And it kept
but you're back
kept
now.
saying error, error, error.
IG's on their BS. They didn't want us to be great, but we are back. We were talking about what were we talking about? We were talking about representation, how important it is. We were also talking about Bad Boys 2, but we didn't even get a chance to discuss the other iconic films that you've done throughout your career as well. Too. Now that you're back, we can,
Okay.
and that these two are There's Something About Mary, and in box office, it sold 369.9 million, making it the third highest grossing in North America and the fourth highest grossing of the year. And this would have been like what, 1999, 1998. Then you went and you did Holy Man with one of comedy's greatest. You've already worked with one comedy giant, that's Martin Lawrence in Bad Boys 2, but you've worked with Eddie Murphy in Holy Man and Jeff Goldblum. And this was 12.1 million in box office. So what was it like being a part of these iconic cult classic comedy films?
Incredible opportunities. That was the first time that I actually met Eddie. I played a police officer, and we were shoulder to shoulder in the scene where they're talking about him leaving his wife, and they were trying to disparage his character, and come to find out wasn't his wife. They just lied. So in that particular scene, it was um, Eddie, Jeff Goldblum, and Kelly Preston. Um, what an incredible! I mean, and I have to say that either I'm blessed or I don't know. I've never met anyone that's been uh, a jerk or you know unable to be what they need to be. Um, Eddie was going through some things at that time, but still, what a class act. Um, his first cousin was actually one of the producers of The Holy Man, and Ray Murphy. And fast forward about 5 years ago, I met him through another filmmaker in West Virginia. His name's Alex Leith. Introduced me to Ray, and then, unbeknown to, like you said earlier, this is a small business. I had
Yeah.
met Ray's partner when I was producing a film called Heart of a Champion. His name's Buck Kolkmeyer. So after I was introduced to Ray, we kind of kicked it a little bit. I get this call, and I had changed phones, so I didn't recognize the number. Um, and he just kept calling. So I finally answered, it was Buck. I'm like, hey, man, I haven't heard from you in years. He said, yeah, I heard you've been talking to my partner. I'm like, who the hell's your partner? He's like, Ray Murphy. I'm like, wow, wow. So now today we have an 11-year agreement with Ray Murphy and Murphy Media Distribution. We can go straight from any can to distribution through Ray Murphy Jr. So
Look at that.
it's a small business. Again, treat everyone with respect. Honor your relationships, and and put in the work. There are no shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. Put in the work.
And that's to anybody. We've seen some of the biggest names like Ava DuVernay, so many others, intern for other producers
Yep.
and have a small start. And look at them now. They have their own theaters. They have their own production companies. They're now taking ownership over their own projects and creativity. And they're doing the hiring now. So it's so funny. It's like a full circle moment. Full
It is,
360 full circle moment.
because I was like, who would have thought that, okay, our initial meeting, and I didn't meet Ray on that set, but like I said, Eddie, Jeff, and Kelly, the three of us were, I mean, dead set in the middle of this scene together. Brief conversation with Eddie, just asking about opportunities in the business. They all chimed in. Eddie, Kelly, and Jeff, gave me some solid advice. But who would have thought that all these years later, I'd be entered into a distribution deal with his first cousin?
God, oh God.
Yeah, yeah. So I am grateful for all of the opportunities that I've been given. I I work to make the best of them, um, but at the same time, I also they say your net worth is in your network.
Yeah,
So I also utilize the opportunities to build relationships, um, and that's what's going to carry you through life more than anything else. The relationships you build.
absolutely. Absolutely. And the same for me. That's why I have such a great rapport with almost all of my guests. They keep coming back and it's just like, how does she stay so solid with them? Finding out what works as well too, and finding out their stories and their testimonies. And I've told one of my guests that Friday, Dakari Jones, when I was interviewing him, I told him the reason why, people wanted to know, how do you stay so cool and tight with your guests? There's some that I just like, I didn't see it. I didn't see eye for, but there are some that I've just created bonds with. I give you an example. Stephen Boyce was an amazing artist. Um, every time we have an interview, it's just like, okay, we're ready for number 6, number 7, and so many others, because we have that solid bond. And you develop these rapports with people, and it's just like the relationship is long standing and test of time. You create these networks of people, and that is what is important. So
Yes.
you are so you are loved so much, so much, Stevie. I couldn't read it, but I got you. Yes. Thank you. And I love y'all too. Y'all give me so much love and support. And it's amazing to see how far I've came with this platform, because I started in 2014, right after high school, didn't know what I was doing. And now, years later, we see how far we've came. You see the progression, you see the growth. And I appreciate all of y'all for sticking with me through the ups, through the downs. But right now, I must say this has been the most happiest year for me ever. So thank y'all so much. And I hope you have this gentleman back again. Oh, definitely. Definitely. And speaking of gems and nuggets, before we close out, because we had some technical issues a
Yeah.
little bit, I don't know if you guys missed it, but gems. What are some gems that you've learned throughout your career? Because you've been in the business for a long time. And we've just mentioned some icons that you've worked alongside yourself, from Eddie Murphy to Martin Lawrence to Will Smith. You've worked with all of them. What are some of the gems that you've learned throughout your career and that you would impart to the next generation of up and coming actors and filmmakers and producers out
Well, number
there? Thank
one, respect the craft. Okay. Learn your craft. That's number one. Number two, integrity. Okay. Like I said, there are no shortcuts, because the person that you cut today could very well be the producer on set next week. Um, as a matter of fact, I have a funny little story about that. When I was doing something about Mary, I was actually writing a project of my own, and I wanted to shoot the trailer for it. We were wrapping up on set, and there was a young lady on set. I got to tell you that the moment was perfect because she flipped her hair, and the way the sunlight cascaded over her face at that time, it was like I was watching what I was writing unfolding in front of me. And so I approached her and I asked her for her agent's number. I said, I'd like to have your agent's number. I want to contact your agent so that, you know, there's a possibility that, I can have some work for you. So, and then I went to go turn in my wardrobe. She was standing by the wardrobe trailer in earshot, and she started talking a bunch of trash. She's like, all of these guys out here, trying to, hook up and tell these lies about, that. And I'm like, okay. And I heard her mention her agent's name, who happened to be a very good friend of mine. So I called him up. I gave him her name, and I said to him, she just missed an opportunity because she made judgment before she even knew what was going on. And his name was Sal, and Sal was like, "What?" I was just like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "You can call her and let her know that not everyone is trying to get with her." Especially if I'm asking for your name, Sal. I'm like, Sal, you cute and everything, but look, so he kind of laughed about it. He said, "Well, I got some others that might fit the description." I'm like, "No, the opportunity has passed." I think it wasn't 5 minutes. Sal called her. I could see that she was having a conversation with him, and then she walked up to apologize, and I just simply said to her, "You never know who some treat everyone as though you're auditioning for the role of your life." So she lost that opportunity, and it's a lesson to everyone. You never know who someone on set. I bumped into the director of a show that we were producing. I didn't know he was a director. I bumped into him. He's like, "Dude, we were on South Beach. It was hot." And he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm standing here. What are you doing?" And a friend of mine was behind him going, and I'm like, "Nah, man, I ain't about as hot as hell out here. Come front me like that." He's like, I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Director." And I'm like, "Oh, crap." So the guy was like, "Okay, so since you're just standing here, stand there and don't move until I tell you." 50 minutes pass, they're measuring out shots. He bumps into me again. And he's like, "Dude, what is your problem?" I'm like, "Look, man, look, I know it's hot out here, but you told me to stand here and not move. That's what you told me. So that's what I'm doing." He said, "Okay, all right, great." He said, "You just became Glenn Plummer's stand-in." And I'm like, and I was green at the time. I didn't know what that was. So I snuck away and called my agent. She was like, "You just got upgraded." That's how I got into doing stunts, because we came back for another day and they were like, okay, so in this scene, Glenn gets thrown through a wall. And I'm like, sucks to be Glenn. And he's like, you're Glenn. So, that was my first foray as a stunt double. So, listen, you never know who someone is. So, listen, act accordingly.
Absolutely. And the audience is seconding that. They're agreeing. Yuck, that's so ugly. Glad you did that valuable lesson that cost her dearly. Hmm. And lessons, glad you could laugh about it now. Right. You never know who you are sitting and who you are talking with, or who knows who in this business.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because it is a
Absolutely.
very, very small world. And people are networking all the time.
All the time. All the time. So one bad experience, you're having a bad day, it translates into setting your career back for years because you insulted someone that told someone else, and you know
Absolutely. King David says you can say that again. A small world, yeah. In this business, even with me, that's why I stick to myself. I do what I'm supposed to do. I host my platform. I get on, I get off, and I support other people. That's what I do. I do
yeah.
my part in it. But other than that, as far as burning bridges with people and messing up my reputation in this business, I'm not going to do that because you never know who knows who and where your blessings can come from because that person could be writing a script just for you. Just how I got blessed with my first ever movie script
Right.
with the director that I reviewed. So, I mean, you never know. Who knows who?
So you just have to just be be decent human beings. That's all. Give respect. Sometimes even when it's not given, because look, some of these PAs on some of these sets, oh my gosh, you know. But do what you're told. Be where you need to be. Do your job. The rest will take care of itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Fashion dolls. Before we close out, we're going to do something fun here with our very special guest, Richard. And I do this with all of my guests. It's sort of like a parallel of my guests get to ask me the questions. But before we do that, King David wants to know, what is another story in your life? They want to know, can you share another story with us?
What do you mean, like something that I experienced on set or what?
Be specific, King David. Perfection. And welcome if you're just joining Fashion Dolls. We are here with Richard Fitzpatrick, and we are talking about his amazing career in the film business as a writer, as a director, as a producer. And they say yes in the yes as it pertains to film. So let's start it out.
Okay, so this is how I met Bill Duke. I went to the ABFF, which is hosted in Miami, and honestly, I was frustrated. That story I told you about the young lady, I kept running into stuff like that, and I'm offering to pay you and you still don't want to show up. Yeah, I got a problem. And so I was really frustrated. I actually I bought the ticket prior to those experiences. And when ABFF came about, I wasn't going to go. I was like, I'm not going. I'm sick of the entire thing. I'm tired of the BS. I'm not going. And so I was married at the time, and my ex was like, you pay for that ticket, you don't get up out of here. So I left angry. I got there angry. They were having a question and answer period. I stood up before them and I was like, I don't really have a question. I need to make a statement. I need to say something to all of us. One of the people on the panel, well, the panel was Mario Van Peebles, John Singleton, Tracy Ellis Ross, um, a who's who, okay, of black film and cinema. And I got up and I said, one of the people on the panel, I actually bumped into him at Eckert's. Was it Eckert's or Walgreens? One of the two. We closed the place down. I didn't know him. He didn't know me, but we had a conversation that led to them turning the lights on and off. This is why I say, you never know who knows who. I'm standing up there and I said, listen, I met him last night and we had an incredible conversation about the business, the industry, the entire thing. I said, some of you in here, I see you have 5, 6, 7 placards on your, so you've been here for 7 years. Where's your film?
Yeah.
What have you brought to the industry? Are you just coming for the parties? Are you just coming for, the photo ops? I'm like, why are we here? And I said, and some of you are unapproachable. I said, you try to talk to you and you give people the attitude. And I said, ladies, forgive me. But if I'm asking you about a project that I want to produce and I want you to audition, honey, you ain't all that. I'm just trying to see if you fit into this project. So when you give me attitude, guess what? You just lost opportunity. I said, we need to start working together as a people, as a culture, because what sits on the stage is an example of what happens when we do. I said, you guys are here. I'm like, I hear you all complaining about, but you're not trying to fix it. So with that being said, I'm out. And I went to sit down. The entire room you could hear a rat peeing on cotton. Bill Duke gets up and pours fuel on the fire. He starts with the slow clap, and then he says, when we were growing up, if someone had some bacon, somebody had some grits, and somebody had some eggs, we could have breakfast. He said, but that's changed. You all want everything to yourself. Everyone wants to be the first one to get there, and none of you are getting anywhere. So I'm glad he said it. And then Mario Van Peebles added even more fuel. And then Bill was like, and at that point, we're going to take a break. Girl, you talking about getting ambushed? When I got to the door, you didn't introduce yourself to me. I didn't even know who you were. I'm like, well, how you gonna get to know who I am if I can't approach you? I had some folks just don't worry about it. You could do it yourself. And I'm like, no, you can't. I can't shoot it, light it, do the sound. I can't do it all by myself. And I know Eddie Murphy can play several characters, but I'm not there yet. So that was a consensus that we had. And then we came back from the break. And this is how God works. We came back from the break. There was another young man that was just as pissed as I was. But they brought him up. He had this film that he was looking to try and produce and distribute. That film ended up being the very first film that I executive produced, and it's still streaming on Amazon Prime to this day. It's called Love Trap, my very first film.
See?
But I went to quit. I was done. But, the universe said no.
The universe said no, they're not done with you yet. It's more that you have to give. Much love and cyber hugs to you all. Yes, thank you, Darkness, and I appreciate you for coming through always, baby. Always. And I love you too. And King David agrees. He says, that's amen. Definitely going to check that out. And you seen the movie Naptown?
I haven't, but I'm going to.
Mm. See? And this is
Oh,
living testament.
it's that she's seen the movie. Okay. Yeah, Love Trap was my very first film, multi-award winner. It proved to me that it could be done. I think it was exactly a year from that day that we came back to ABFF in distribution with an incredible distribution deal that I think 3, maybe 4 years later, I found out is not the norm, you know. And
Wow.
so, we built from that point forward to release of my latest was the latest film I produced is a horror that came out, and it was my first theatrical release. It's entitled Bad Candy. It's on Tubi TV. So I'm continuing to work, slow but sure, looking for the next team, that wants to, go at it and go for it, you know. I got 11 years produce and go straight to distribution. So listen, I need to put a lot of content in the can between now and then.
And you're not slowing up.
No,
And that's going to be my last question before we got into our game segments and close out. Is what are the key things that a person needs to have longevity in this business? You said 11 years. You've been doing this for a long time. You're a veteran in the game. So,
yeah,
what are some things that you would give to the next up and coming generation? Because I see so many up and coming filmmakers, directors, producers who are doing it independently or just getting their groundwork out here, putting their feet into the game and saying, hey, my projects are going to go as well, too. We're going to put this out here.
yeah. Find your people. Find people that are just as passionate as you are. Find people that don't mind, put the egos aside, because that's what it was with Love Trap. I kept looking for stuff to go wrong with Love Trap. Never did. Never did. Never did. Everyone put their egos aside because the most important thing was the project. That was the most important thing. And so find your people, number one. Number two, never, ever give up. Don't give up. Push. You know, if you hit a wall, find a way around it. Find a way over it. You know, um, be creative because sometimes filmmaking is, problem solving. Can't get one location that you need, find the angles and use another location. You know, um, you just can't quit. That's it. You can't quit. Find a way, and I promise you, the results will be. Um, I mean, you'll surprise yourself.
Absolutely. In Naptown, he asked you a question. He said, is it hard to work with new people?
It can be, um, because some some folks, if you're not coachable, if you're not, you know, if you can't take direction, that makes it difficult. You know, if you, my grandmother used to say, you've got one mouth and two ears, and there's a reason for that. Okay, um, you've got to, people have got to learn to listen. Just listen. Sometimes we shoot our own selves in the foot, because, we just don't see it. And then after the fact, we're like, I wish I had, you know, or if I would have, or I should have, listen, it may not, let's say it doesn't vibe with you in the moment. Um, Take a step back, take a breath, you know, listen. You could be passing up the opportunity of a lifetime. What if I'd have been so obstinate that, I'm done. I quit. No, I sat down with that director and that producer and found common ground, and look what happened in a short period of time. You know, it proved that this can be done. It proved that
Yes.
despite the challenges, if you can just see past the challenges, you can find a way to get it done
Make the impossible possible and make
all,
it happen.
all the time.
So, and to add on to what Naptown's questions was, I love working with new people. That's why everybody's like, "Oh, you interview." The misconception that I get from people is that all I interview is celebrities, and I'm just like, no. If they are a black filmmaker, if they are a black producer, everybody black deserves an opportunity to be heard because
Mm.
we know how the business is and we know how the game is as it
Mm.
pertains to up and coming black filmmakers.
Right.
So when I created my platform, I said I wanted to have a lot of inclusion. I want to have people who look like me, who are behind the lens as well too, and we are having a conversation to an audience of people who look like us,
Hmm.
because that is important. Again, it goes back to what I said in part one, because I did a part one when we had our technical issues.
Yeah.
I said the representation is key, and that is important to have a longevity in this business because you want people to turn on the television and feel like, hey, I'm included. I finally see myself, or see themselves in another character, or they probably know someone who's been through a similar the situation
Right.
that character has been through. So that is key and that is
Yeah,
important and beneficial to have
and
project.
I think I'd like to qualify that a little bit more too. When you're working with
Yeah.
new people that are empty, okay? Because see, if you've got, we all have an ego, everyone does, but it's the extent of the ego. I once saw a film where there was a martial artist trying to teach a young boy how to defend himself and be proficient at martial arts. And the young boy, he took him out into the woods, and the young boy was like, "Well, I know, I know, I know, I know." And so he took a glass and he started pouring water in it, and the glass got full and started to overflow. He said, "This represents what you think you know." He said, "I can't teach you anything because your glass is full." He said, "What you
Mm.
need to do is empty your glass, and then I can pour into you." So when you're working with new people that are eager to learn and eager to, you know what this is about, then yeah, it's easy. But when you're dealing with people who think they know, it can be difficult.
And that's what is important. You have to be willing to learn, sit back. And I also said this last Friday too, when you are hosting a platform and when you are filming a project, you're going to have your pilot and then you are going to have the passenger. When my guests come on the show, I am the pilot introducing them, but I let them take the wheel and they are the pilots and I'm the passenger. I allow them to tell their stories. It's not my place to tell someone else's story. It's their place. And whatever they decide with the audience, that's to share with the audience. That's on them altogether alone. I have no influence or impact in that. And by them sharing their stories with the world, it can help so many other
Right.
people. So
It's a
that's
beautiful
why
ebb and
I
flow that you have, a beautiful ebb and flow. You know, it's yin and yang, push pull. It's just beautiful chemistry.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, fashion dolls. We are now at the end of the road. We are about to get into our games. And then if you guys have any last minute questions before we close out, this is such a great conversation. Let me read Naptown's comment. He says, "We need more black people in the film business because I think Tyler Perry sometimes rep us the wrong way. Sometimes."
Well, if she,
Y'all know
if
why I made my eyes wide. Y'all know how I feel about
hey,
him. Naptown said it. I didn't say it. Moving along.
Hmm.
Like my brother CTV says, um, it is time to get into the rapid five, and we're going to turn the tables. And turn the tables is for my new viewers out here. If you guys are just coming in, if you're new, you're a freshman face, you get to know a little bit about me through my guest questioning. And my guests can ask me anything about passions, life, family, whatever they want to know, fashion, beauty, whatever they want to know, I have to answer. But before we get into turning the tables, we're going to do something I like to call the rapid five. Now, Richard has to tell me five things he can't live without. And I know everybody has their guilty pleasures. One of my guilty pleasures is cookies and cream ice cream. I know I shouldn't be eating it, but I love to binge. It's one of my favorite things I can't live without. But Richard has to tell me five things that he can't live without. It can be a favorite football team, anything in life. So,
Hmm.
Richard, you, what are the top five things that you can't live without?
The gym keeps me
Okay.
sane. It keeps me sane. Boston baked beans.
My aunt loves them.
Oh,
Love them.
one of my favorites. Uh, my grandkids, my granddaughters.
Oh,
Yeah, love them to death. Uh, you know, and what I build, I'm looking to them. Um, I have a passion for cars. So at one point in my life, I owned over 30 cars. Yeah, crazy. Um, and um, I'm a I'm a romantic. So yeah, yeah.
all right. There we go. There we go. And you're like me, we both include family to everything that we do. Because I talk a lot about my mom. If you've seen some of my previous conversations, my mom, she means the world to me. And I would not be here without her and my grandmother. Those are the most true important women in my life to me. And my sister, God rest her soul, I know she's watching over me, my other grandmother. So I'm just surrounded by amazing Black women who've raised an amazing Black woman that you guys see here today. So I give credit to my mom and my grandmother all the time. I praise them. So, all right, Fashion Dolls, I'm a little nervous for the next segment because it's like, okay, you set yourself up, girl. It's time for me to be put in the hot seat. So it is time to turn those tables. And
Mm-hmm.
turn the tables, my guests get to ask me questions, as many as they want. For the viewers at home, you get to find out a little bit more about me through their questions. All right? So I'm going to pass it on down here to Richard. Take it away.
Okay. All right. So, in the next 3 to 5, where do you want to be?
I see myself with my own network. I believe that if Oprah can do it,
Okay.
I can do it too.
Okay.
She ended in her own network. She went from hosting a talk show to having her own network. And I would like to have my network, but I'll be pulling all of these independent, young, up and coming Black filmmakers, producers, letting them just put their projects on my network. And I'm claiming it in the universe. And of course, it would be something in the fashion and beauty world, of beauty arena. I would
Okay.
love to design because at one point I used to sketch fashion illustration. So
Okay.
I would love to design. And of course, the styles you've seen me wear on the show, that would be something that I would definitely design, something similar to. But I'd have to put my own spin onto it. I can't duplicate someone else's. I just have to give my flair to it. So I'd like to design home decor, fashion, beauty. I see all of these things in the future.
Okay. Favorite artist and why?
Oof. I would have to say, oof, my goodness. It's so many. You guys already know who I'm going to say, Whitney Houston. I'm
Okay.
a big
All right.
Whitney Houston. And why I love her is because she was so humble. She was so down to earth. She was so laid back. And people were saying that about her behind the scenes. Even if they were in the studio or they did a song with her, they said she gave them very much like she was very much like an auntie to them. Like she would goof behind the scenes, make you laugh, and just do all of these crazy things. But she was so humble. She loved God. I love God. And that's something that you can't take away from her. Her talent and her legacy alone stands the test of time. Because if you put on the Star Spangled Banner or you put on Greatest of All, any of her songs, any of her videos, you see she had beauty, she had grace, she had not only that, but she had charisma, and she had a way with people. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Um. Hmm. You mentioned cookies and cream. Um. So, uh, sweet potato pie or apple pie?
I thought you was gonna say pumpkin because there's been a whole debate about that for Thanksgiving,
Mm-hmm.
whether okay, is pumpkin better than sweet potato? And you guys in the comments know y'all have seen the memes. So oh, it's a tough one because I love them both. But if I had to choose, if I could eat one thing for the rest of my life until it was time to go home, then I would say, oh, sweet potato, sweet potato for me. I mean,
Okay.
apple, I could eat apple pie all day too, but sweet potatoes like a year-round thing. Is when Thanksgiving or Christmas. I remember my mom did that for Christmas. She cooked the big Christmas dinner, and then she was tight the next few couple of days. And guess who had to help her make the plates?
Mm.
So yeah, but I would say sweet potato pie because it's like a year-round holiday thing. Like with Thanksgiving, Christmas, any event,
Yeah.
you'll have that. So
So,
sweet potato.
is that store-bought crust or homemade crust?
My mom is big on homemade
Yeah.
crust. Big on homemade crust. And I'd be
So,
right there beside her because I'm in charge of the
and
macaroni this year for Thanksgiving. Again, I did it last year, so I'm in charge of it this year. My sister would typically do it, but it's like, okay, I'll take over where she left off and I'll continue on. And there
so,
was none left.
so
Everybody got some.
in closing, you want the middle or you want the corner?
I go for the middle. When I'm dipping in
Yeah.
first thing, so much cheese. Oh my God, we put so much cheese. Like my mom helped me layer this macaroni with cheese. I go for the middle, right for the middle.
Okay. Same with the sweet potato pie, or are you going for the corner?
Now sweet potato pie is a little bit different because I also put my little ice cream on the side,
Oh, Lord.
but I go on the corners with that.
Yeah, gotta get the corner, especially if it's homemade crust. Gotta get the corner. Yeah, because we didn't have when I was growing up. We didn't have the round pans. We had the
Oh yeah,
rectangle. Yeah, and I want the corner. Yeah, it's been a pleasure being here today, and you know, looking forward to possibly doing it again, and hopefully
for
without the
sure.
technical. Yeah,
Would love to have you back. It was such a pleasure.
yeah,
And that time, yes, it's something about, before we close out, before I do the final thought, I'm going to touch on that comment. It is something about homemade. There's nothing like a home cooked meal. Now, I could go out and I can get, okay, KFC, In and Out, all of these different restaurants, but there's nothing like a home cooked meal. Now, at one point in time this week, my mom said, I'm not cooking. Just plain like that. She said, I'm not, and we know how black mothers are in the household. She said, I'm
being there.
not cooking. You better go and find something else to eat. So I went and I bought me like this, a pack of burgers when we were in the store shopping for the house. And so I bought me a pack of burgers. And she said, she's not sweating over the stove. And my grandmother was the same way too. She said, even for Thanksgiving, she said, y'all on your own with that.
Mm,
And when she said we were on our own, my cousin made her dish, my aunt made her dish, and we made our dish. And everybody collectively had to go to house to house to house because we would always meet at my grandmother's. But for the pandemic, it's a little bit different. Everybody had to cook their own dishes. So, yeah, and we had to go to each other's house and collect plates. So it was pretty fun, and we did something different. But
yeah,
home cooked meals itself is nothing better. It goes deep to your soul. It's just a
man,
good feeling. So yeah.
yeah.
Fashion dolls. Final thought of the day before we close out this amazing conversation, and it comes from Vince Lombardi. And he says, perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence.
Wow.
It goes back to what Richard said in the beginning part of our interview, which is to never give up, to keep focused. And for me, I've always adapted myself to have laser beam focused. Like my vision, you cannot make me look the other way. I'm going to stay focused on what I need to focus on. So many things have happened in my life this year, so many milestones. My nephew has been born. He is here. He's already starting to crawl,
Oh
y'all.
wow.
Uh, Hitting 600 interviews, meeting a lot of new faces. A lot of y'all have shown me so much love. Naptown, ABC, all of y'all have shown me so much immense love, and I'm just showered and overwhelmed by all of this love. I receive it. I take it all in, and that is one of the affirmations that I say in the mornings when I get up, which is I surround myself with people who uplift me. There's never a dull moment with the people that I just named, as well as my friends on here and outside of Style by Stevie in real life. People that I went to school with are watching the platform, and it shocks me. It's just like, wow, we never knew you had such a voice. But it's like, yeah, it's been there. It's just been hidden under the surface. So it's up to you to go and chase after excellence. And a lot of people, we live in a day and age where everything is beautiful. It has to be beautiful. We're in technology. We're in IG land. We're in FB land. We're in Facebook, Instagram. We're in all of these lands where we see perfection as we scroll down the timeline. But it's just like, yeah, do know that there are doctors, there are filters and things, right?
Yes.
We're not talking about that kind of perfection. These people don't live these lives that they post. It's just a post. That's all it is. But at
Hmm.
the end of the day, in order to strive for perfection, you have to be willing to put in the work. And me, I have been doing this since first graduated out of high school, 2014. And I came on the scene. I had no idea what I was doing. Cocky, arrogant. I was in my 20s, late 20s, I want to say, going into the 30s as through the years progressed. But now I'm 30 years old, and I'll be 31 this October 31st. And I must say now at this point in my life is the time. And 30 for me, that number, I said, is very significant because it means that you are divinely protected. And I am divinely protected by my ancestors, divinely protected by my grandmother who's watching over me, and my sister who I lost, unfortunately, in 2018. So I have had so many people watch over me and protect me and just show me so much love. And I appreciate y'all undividedly. Thank you all so much. Are you still a baby? Yes. Yes. And it comes with maturity. I've been through so much in my life, and all of the things that I've been through in my life have helped mold me into the person you guys see today. And we still have our nicks and crannies. Everything is not going to be perfect. It's just like how you try to straighten your hair and you want all of that hair to be straight. There's going to be some nicks and crannies in there. But the thing is, keep going, keep pressing, and keep persevering. If there's something that you want to go for in the stars, what's for you? Richard said this earlier, and I think this part of the interview, which was, what's for you is for you. Your purpose is your purpose. Your mission is your mission. What's for me is for me, and what's for the next person is for the next person. Tell you guys a little story real quick. I sometimes bid in auctions, like on eBay or wherever, and you're not going to win the auction all the time.
Sure.
You all know that I started collecting Barbies in 2023, and there was this one Barbie. She was so beautiful, and Bob Mackie, who's designed for Cher and Tina Turner, customized this gown on this doll. I said, "Oh my God!" I was just fascinated by it. It was so beautiful. I didn't get it. Somebody else won it. So just like how I didn't win that time, there's always another time for the next person to win. Take that as an example, and
Mm.
that is what we did. Professionals. So, Richard, before we close out, final thoughts, final words of encouragement, and where can everyone check you out? Because we've went through a catalog of your work that everybody can go see on Hulu and all of these platforms, and your projects as well, to which the audience, some of them have seen your projects, and they're just like, we love that project. So you've got Bad Boys 2 already out. You've got There's Something About Mary, Holy Man, and you've also got Transported to, iconic films that everyone can go and check. Where can everyone go and check you out? Are there any gems that you'd like to leave with the audience today?
Well, obviously, I'm on Instagram. You can find me as DMellow1. D stands for dark, and uh, mellow means that I don't let things shake me. I'm steady. Uh, calm in the storm. Uh, you can check my website out at blacktriadentertainment.com. And what I'd like to leave with everyone is perseverance. You know, persevere. If this is what you want to do it. You know, don't let someone else's opinion or someone else not seeing the vision um, deter you from pursuing what you desire to do with your life. And two, listen, um, time is the only commodity you can't get back. You lose money, you can get more money. You lose a house, you can buy another house. You wreck the car, listen, you got insurance for that, but there's no insurance on time, so don't waste it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want you guys to go into the week being amazing, being prosperity. And it goes back to my final thought of the day. I posted a quote this morning. You are a miracle. You are a walking, breathing, living testament of your own life story.
Hmm.
So remember that you are a miracle. And a lot of people say, I don't look like what I've been through. So take that as a living testament that so many people go through so many things in their life, so many obstacles, but they are still here surviving. I've had a lot of no's, and you're going to get a lot of no's in this business. So that is the final thing to add on to what Richard just said, fashion laws. And Richard, I had such an amazing time chatting with you. This was such a great conversation, and I hope that you all took something away from it as well to the viewers at home.
Thanks for having me. I wish you all the very, very best. Let's go out and tell some stories and make some history.
All right, fashion dolls, there you have it. Let me read Naptown's comment. There is a lot. That's a lot of our problem. We are so used to listening to what others think. Yes, you cannot care what people have to think about you, and take that in your life. You're gonna have people that are gonna say everything about you. They're gonna talk bad if you did something bad. They go. I mean, don't let these opinions shake you. Let all of these opinions that people have about you mold you and make you build a wall where it's just like, I'm unstoppable, which is
That's
what
right.
Richard said in the beginning of the interview. Unstoppable. And that's what I've had to learn in this business as well too. Because I would always go back and watch my interviews, and one thing that I would do is I would compare myself like, oh, to the next person that's doing the same thing that I'm doing, and it's just like, no. Or people sometimes will do that, compare me to the next person. I'm just like, no, I'm doing my own. I'm in my own lane. I'm not trying to be like the next person and the next person. Everybody does something different that makes them different. And the key word is individuality. And my quote from this morning was, you are glorious. So you are glorious. You are unstoppable. And never let any obstacle or what anybody else says about you or opinion wise anything shake you and stop you from getting to your next phase in your life. And I want you to take that with you, Fashion Dolls.
Amen.
All right, Fashion Dolls. So we will see you Friday with Mark Denham. No shows from the looks like this week is going to be a little break, but we will be back Friday with Mark Denham. So make sure you guys tune in and join us Friday at 4. And I love you all, and you guys be safe. This will be uploaded to Style by Stevie Daytime on YouTube, parts 1 and part 2. And you guys can check it out here on the gram as well too. And a very, very, very special thanks to all of you guys, as well as you, Richard, for coming through and dropping these gems on us, because it's something that a lot of people needed to hear if they want to get into the business.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.